There it is, 2000. A milestone moment for a Pittsburgh icon.
Malkin dusts it off, right in front. Another chance, backhand score! It's Brian Rust with the goal. Rarefied air to Hall of Fame career, 1,200 points for Evgeny Malkin.
2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball. Separation. Touchdown. George Pickens.
Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio. Yes, right in the municipal building in Bethel Park. We appreciate all of you watching us. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 21. Only in Bethel Park. I can't explain it, but that's Comcast. Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, Greater Pittsburgh area. So thank you for watching us there. Facebook Live. We appreciate the interactions. Nick got my phone. Let me see who's on. Aaron Carl, Ann Harder, Chuck McElroy, and another great show, Bob Rabinold. Thank you for watching.
That's one of my cousins I got on.
Cousin Mike is here. Thank you for tuning in. If you're on Facebook, I can interact with you when I get time. And for the rest of you, please go to our YouTube channel, Pittsburgh Sportsline on YouTube. We could use another subscriber or two. Nick, did you see the latest number?
166.
166. Good.
Not bad.
That is great. We jumped up a little bit. We appreciate it. We're on our way to we're trying to get the 1K. If Smokin' Jim would only contact half of his godchildren, half of his cousins, and 1/4 of his sweeties in America, we would hit that yesterday. Paul Haley's watching. Thanks. Ralph Williams, shout out to you.
That's my man.
Teresa Mariano, how's your son Johnny? Get well, Johnny. Ralph said hello. Baron Flannery's back. Baron, we salute you. Thanks for turning in. Smokin' Jim can't wait to say hi to you. Paul Haley, good evening, guys, from SC. Margaret Peggy Rohde's watching. I can't wait for her comments about her and Nick and her handsome son. Oh. Bob Raminall, hi, Mike, love this. All right, you haven't heard us talk any sports, but before we get into that, I got a little promo. We got our normal promos, but I have two ladies that are guests of mine, and they help animals, rescue animals and stuff, and they're doing a great event. One of them is a good friend that was a guest on our show, and she was a great guest, Jennifer Rattay. She had the police chief, Eric Schubert, on the show, so I thank her for that. Then Smokin' Jim stole her and put her on one of his shows. And then one of my, Christine Luffy, she's a police officer. She rescues animals all the time. She did the painting show. Maria's Ideas teaches us to paint with Maria. She's friends with Maria, and she outpainted me that day.
Wow.
And then my good friend, Steve Crisani, a policeman, they rescue animals, and they're doing biscuits and bingo, and it's Saturday, April 6th, 2024, Salvatore's Event Center, 5001 Curry Road, and that's Baldwin, 15236. This is too rich for Smokin' Jim. It's not free. It's $60 a ticket. It includes pasta buffet, 16 games, that's bingo games, 4 specials, and they serve delicious pasta with, I got Italian people here, Mariana sauce, salad, and a dinner roll.
Wow.
Beverages, snacks, desserts are sold separately, and it's helping animals for over 25 years. They've been doing this, and the Pittsburgh police are involved in it. So check it out. Mark your calendar. Again, Saturday, April 6th. It starts at 11:30 to 12:30 for the buffet. Bingo starts not on Smokin' Jim time, 12:30. Since he knows Jennifer, she knows how he is. So that's 12:30. Bingo starts. All right. Now we're going to go to our promos.
By the way, that's marinara sauce.
Oh, this will be on yeah, sorry. I was speaking English from Pittsburgh. And I grew up with all Italians.
There you go.
Yeah, this will be on location.
Understood.
I mean, yeah. All right, what else do we got to say? We're going to go. No, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Almost forgot that. Smoking Jim Frazier, you already heard me talk about him. That's my BFF. I'm only going by what I've seen for the 13 years that I know him. And I know more than anybody, and I only know 10% of them. Nick VIP Callis, Michael Ragin Rohde, and we're going to do our promos that we've done before in 10 seconds. So check them out. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Strikers. I worked there for 36 years. My former union, CWA PPMWS 14842, Pittsburgh Local Mailers Union number 22, is on strike. Even though health care benefits were secured for workers by the union, Post-Gazette management cut them out without the union's approval and still expected workers to show up without any coverage. Please cancel your Post-Gazette subscriptions online or in print. Pittsburgh Sportsline supports the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette Union Strikers. Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front.
Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com. Alex Reed is in need of a kidney. 2 weeks after college graduation, Alex's kidneys failed. A gracious donor gave Alex 7 years of life, but now he needs another kidney. To learn more about becoming a donor for Alex, call 830-285-2140 or go to kidneysolutions.org. Zhang Taekwondo just opened a new location in the South Hills, along with its location in Wexford and its inclusion in the curriculum of Provident Charter School in Troy Hill. Zhang uses Taekwondo to teach its students confidence and self-discipline through physical fitness. Zhang is offering a 4-week special. You get a uniform and lessons for $30. If you mention the Talking Machine, Smokin' Jim, or VIP Nick, they'll give you a further discount. For more information, go to zhangtkd.com or call 724-934-9264.
Kennedy. Oh, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed those promos plus my little additional one. And anybody that thinks I'm picking on Smokin' Jim, I am. And we got Carl King watching. Thanks for watching, Carl, and tuning in. We appreciate you. Let's see who else we got here. Tim Kessel's watching. Love the show. Let's go Ragin' Roadie.
Hey.
Dara Davis, the BAC.
Oh, that's Dara. That's buddy of mine.
Nicholas Dominic.
That's another buddy of mine.
Paul Coffey. This is the Ragin' Roadie show. Took over. Dara Davis, the BAC. Rod. Nick Rody's watching. Thank you. Now I got Peggy. Hi, Al. Handsome panel with my son. No, she didn't say that. And talented crew make for a great and lively show. Watching from Rochester. That's our fans in Rochester. And we got handsome Ragin' Mike here with us, so we're good to go. And we're going to start talking sports, all right? Because it was a big sports weekend, and we watch sports, so if we don't know, we know through osmosis. And Smokin' Jim doesn't understand it. I don't have my Funkin' Wagnalls dictionary from 1909, but we'll bring that out. But what's on your mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at
you
you.
got to see Levine. And I tell you what, I'm sitting next to a guy that dropped 40 pounds just like that. I've been working out every single day, and I keep gaining weight because the only crunch got Captain in front of me. But hey, Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
I got to do a disclaimer.
Why?
No, I got a disclaimer. We all loved Captain Crunch when we were 6 years old. We don't know how old Smokin' Jim is. And I know Nick and I last year had to tape his pants.
Yes.
They were falling down in a boxing match. He stood up, and we almost found out whether he had underwear on or off. Yep. We used duct tape around his belly, and I go,
Whatever it takes, Mike.
There you go.
well, Mike,
Whatever
here's
it
what I
takes.
said. I go, are you losing weight? He goes, well, some people say that. Well, I go, you are. And my man has secretly lost poundage because I've been looking at him for almost 13 years now, and he's down a quart.
It's amazing. It's amazing you can't lose any weight when you leave this building with that box every Tuesday night.
Hold it, one more. We got a couple more people. Raina Walls is watching. Sharon Leotis, my PR lady's watching us tonight to see what we do. Shout out to Sharon. Thanks for her help. We got our flyer up to tease on Coliseum Combat Zone on location. So, I'm a little ahead of the curve. So I'll let Smokin' Jim continue because we don't know really what's on his mind.
Why in the world I've never go against Al Levine, the talking machine. Why did I go? I lost my shirt. I should have talked to my agent, Mikey. I should have went and got my stats from my stat man, Marco. I didn't. My white guys let me down with San Francisco. I never thought they would lose. But you said don't go against Mahomes.
Don't bet Mahomes.
I figured old Patty Mahomes with his daddy, that not at the game, that maybe that might be confusing.
Did you miss what Patrick said about his dad when they said, what's up with that DWI?
No, I didn't say what he said.
You know what he said? That's his own. He got to work that out.
Wow, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, congratulations to Taylor Swift for getting her first Super Bowl. And here's the happiest moment of the whole weekend. Al Levine, the talking machine, when Kelsey says three-peat. So I thought he was going to retire, but I'll see Taylor Swift again next year. And Al Levine, the talking machine, finally, and Michael will agree with me on this.
Don't say that
This
yet.
wasn't the semifinals. This was the championship. You can end it in a tie. Al Levine, for centuries, championship games, co-champs. As far as I'm concerned, San Francisco's co-champs. And that's what's on my mind.
Well,
it wasn't a semifinal. You didn't have to go to overtime. Co-champs.
Smoking Jim, this is unusual.
Co-champs.
You remember Patrick Mahomes. Buffalo was
Notre Dame, Michigan State, 1966. Co-champs. Ask Terry Hamrick.
Well, just
Bubba Smith.
Go back a few years.
Gene Washington
Buffalo,
on Michigan
you can
State.
spot out whatever you want.
Rocky Blyer on Notre Dame.
The NFL changes their rules. You watched the Steelers in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Look what they did with Mel Blount.
That's true.
Okay, so guess what they did with Patrick Mahomes winning a game in 13 seconds? They changed the rules.
Yeah.
Did you hear the referee make a statement?
He said, you
New
take the
game.
ball.
How about he goes, I know you didn't hear that because you had 3 sweeties with you. They said, the ref goes, this is a new game.
But Patrick Mahomes
know what
didn't
a
win the
new
Super
game
Bowl in
means.
13 seconds. He won a game that you had to have a winner. You don't have to have a winner in the
You
Super
know
Bowl.
why you
It's
don't
halftime.
listen very well? They changed the overtime rule because of that.
But I'm just
You
saying.
got to add 1 and 1. I know you
just
went to
saying.
Gateway and Cal U, but
Nick
you got
agrees.
18 degrees, but none of them are in math. We're gonna move on because I can't. It's like arguing with the wall. Only he talks back. Thanks, Smoking Jim. We got to go to Nicholas Callis. What's on your mind?
So I'll start this by saying I'll already say what Al's going to say when we talk about disclaiming betting. If you don't bet, don't start.
Yes.
And if you bet, do not bet with Smoking Jim Frazier. So we got that out of the way.
Wait.
Well-
I need to know how many of you listen to me or Smoking Jim. We want to get a tally and a poll on that.
Well, I actually have
Thank you.
I have a real world experience with that tonight because
Lay it on
I
us.
put $100 on the San Francisco 49ers,
Oh,
right?
I'm
Betting the
sorry.
Super Bowl.
He didn't listen to me.
I didn't do it because of Smoking Jim, though, and I talked about this last week. I had my own reasons, and I think I said toward
we
the end
heard
of the.
your opinions,
I think
yeah.
I said toward the end of the show. I said, well, maybe I should change my bet because Smoke was betting on the 49ers.
You did say that.
But then I'm like, you know what? No, I got my legitimate reasons. It's a rarity when a team goes back to back, especially in this era, and the 49ers are legit. And the 49ers, and the Chiefs for that matter, did not look legit. The game was entertaining because of the back and forth nature, but if we're talking about a quality of a football game, that wasn't a great game. So
I'll
there were
talk
just
about that later.
there were just a whole lot of mistakes that were going on. So it was again entertaining. But yeah, I mean, the 49ers had control of a lot of the game, and some stupid mistakes caused them to lose the game. I saw Ray McLeod on X tweeting back at fans because they were blaming him for the fumble. I don't think we're blaming Ray for the fumble because he didn't touch the ball. He actually reacted properly because it hit off his teammate's foot.
He tried to get
What
it.
Ray tried to do was be a hero while his team was up, and he said, "Oh, I can take this to the house because nobody's expecting anything." And then he dropped the football, right? Because there was still a scrum going on. So I think that the 49ers had the ability to win that game. The 49ers were in control, and I had a lot of faith in them as the game was going on as well, because it looked like they had legitimate shots to win. Unfortunately, on the other side of it, the never bet against Mahomes, and you would have, and I had some other people talking to me about this as well. When giving betting advice, they're like, well, at least if I wake up in the morning, I'm going to know I bet on the greatest. And I felt like garbage the morning after the Super Bowl because I'm like, he did it again. And when the game's close, like the Chiefs are going to find a way. Like I thought that they played better with urgency because they've got a plan. Like they can get the ball to Kelsey, they can move the ball closer to the ground and score. And so
What about
watching
Rice?
them methodically just tramp down the field and then score, I mean, that was to be expected. And here we are now. I'm disappointed. So I guess one more time, if you don't bet, don't start. And if you're going to decide to bet, bet against Smoking Jim's picks. That's what's on my mind. I'm disappointed. Betting is tough. It's a tough time. So I guess don't bet against Mahomes either. That's another good life lesson.
I got a sure thing for you in basketball tonight. Illinois.
He pronounced it right because he knows English, and that was it. Nick and Jim, that's the loser side. I gotta duck down. My head hit the ceiling with all those compliments, and I don't like to brag. And Drew says I gotta watch about bragging. But Drew, if I'm just telling the truth, am I bragging? And I got a few things to counter what you said about the game, and we're gonna go to Mike Rohde. What's on your mind? I can't wait to let it loose.
Oh, man, I tell you,
Let it out. Don't hold it in.
I don't want to talk about football, but I guess I have to, right? Because it's that for
Well,
the
you
Super
have another
Bowl.
segment.
Yeah, I know. So I'll painfully get it out of the
You
way.
matured on the show.
Well, I tell you what, I'm just kind of who isn't sick of Kansas City? I don't even really
Oh,
hate Kansas
wait,
City.
I
but,
gotta disclaim
but
this now. Do all of us like winning teams?
Yes.
Do we want our teams to win?
Yes.
Why do we hate after somebody wins a couple things or 4 things or 3 things? We all hate them.
I don't know.
Why is
It's part of the
America
fun.
like that?
I don't. It just is. What do you want me to
No,
do?
that's a
they
rhetorical
changed
question.
it.
Well, here's the thing.
Carry on. I didn't want to
here's the
interrupt.
thing.
but
Here's the
I
thing.
thought they changed their name to the Chefs.
Yeah, the
No?
chefs.
Okay.
Listen.
That was a dumb
Here's the
commercial.
problem. Get used to it. Get used to it because they're not going anywhere. Because I've talked about on the show ad nauseum, and I'll do it one more time, then I'm putting it to bed. is that as long as you've got a quarterback like Mahomes, you're going to win the Super Bowl more often than not. He's already won 3 of the last 6. He's going to win 4 of the next
3
6.
out of 4 times.
Yeah, he's going to win 4 of the next 6. Because you
4 of
you
the
can't stop this guy. Hey, Brady won 7 out of 11, something like that, whatever it was. He's better than Brady. He's more clutch than Brady, and you can't
more athletic.
stop him. And they kind of whittled him down here for the first half or so. But when it came down to crunch time, no matter what they did, they blitzed. He found the guy. You can't run zone against him. They tried that. That was a disaster.
Okay,
They tried
yeah.
everything. And you can't stop this guy. The way
You know
that
what?
I've
For not
said it.
talking about football, you're doing great. Keep going.
It doesn't matter. Take away the best receiver in the league, Tyreek Hill, no problem. Win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Lead the league in drops, no problem. Win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
this
Red
guy's a
Tony-
single man. And again, this is the NFL's built this way. I've said it many, many times, and this is what bothers me. It's making the NFL boring in my mind. Is that I'm not saying bring Patrick Holmes, bring him down.
Okay.
Figure out a way to make other people as good.
Yeah.
Because outside of someone coming out of nowhere, like the kid in Buffalo, the kid in Cincinnati, having like a career year, it's going to be Mahomes every year. He's only 28. He's going to play 10 more years and probably win 7 more Super Bowls. And it's going to be her. And it doesn't matter who the supporting cast is. It didn't matter for Brady, right? Every 3 years, 4 years, they turned over the team except for Brady, and they still won because of the way the league is set up. And when you got a guy who can play quarterback that well, the way the league is set up for rules, you simply cannot stop him.
Good point.
You just can't. And no one is even, no matter what you do, no matter what defensive scheme you run, it's just impossible. And I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's just it's not my frustration. I mean, the NFL's crying all the way to the most watched program in the history of television.
123 million point
How they counted that quickly, but whatever. Let's face it, a lot of people.
They make up numbers.
And speaking of which, the Super Bowl, talk about overblown. I was up there until the beginning of the game when they had the Lombardi Trophy up in the corner with steam rising over, and I'm like, give me a friggin' break. But anyway,
What do you really feel about
it's a game, folks. But I get it. Who am I? There's money to be made. Make the money. I have no problem with it. I don't even mind showing Taylor Swift a bunch of the times. They'd be crazy not to.
Yeah.
The most recognizable human being on the planet.
Yeah.
Dating one of the players. Oh, let's make some old curmudgeon guy in Des Moines, Iowa happy by not showing Taylor Swift. I mean,
did you see Goodell talking to her before the game?
Of course he is. They'd be crazy not to. They
That's
would
when I knew
embrace
Kansas
this.
City was winning. They had merchandise with Kelsey's number, Taylor's boyfriend.
Do you know where the NHL screwed it up? They had one of their players dating Carrie Underwood, the biggest country star in the world at the time.
that.
And he's married to him now. You don't even know it.
Wow.
The NHL just ignored that completely. Every time I see
they're
Taylor Swift, I
Canadians.
think about
They're
this.
Canadians with their mentality.
The biggest, at the time, one of the biggest country stars in the world, and you wouldn't even have known it. And the NHL made no deal about it. So quit complaining about the NFL. But that's irrelevant. It's not gonna change. And I've said it before. Tweaks you can make, being able to put two guys in motion at the same time.
Yeah.
Having only put 5 guys on line. These are slight tweaks. What I'm saying is not to bring down Pat Mahomes,
Right.
but to bring up other guys
Oh, I
who
like
can at
that
least
mentality.
compete at that level. You know what I mean? He's still going to be the best, but at least you're going to have someone else with a chance to succeed. The way it is now, ain't going to happen.
Wow, I was getting pumped up about the Steelers and Cam Hayward. Now I'm depressed because I don't see us run anybody in motion, let alone one guy or two.
Let alone 2.
You got me thinking deep. I'm off my Steeler focus. Mike Rohde, you added excellent here. You said you would. You didn't want to talk football, but we'll tease you for what he talks about on Ragin' Rohde.
All right.
All right, we got some people watching. So Ann Harder said, looking for 3 in a row from KC. Carmen Ciorda's
Done.
watching. My old-time Post-Gazette press friend George Malerbo's watching. Hi, George. Justin Arthur's watching. Ron Romeo's watching. Paul Haley. The first half of the game was boring, but it was nothing but up after that. SF lost because they quit controlling the clock and running the best back in the NFL. That's going to be one of my points. Paul, you stole my thunder. Daniel Stepanovich is watching. Paul Haley. Mahomes is starting a new dynasty. Better than Brady.
Starting.
There we go. He's on his way. Ryan Manboth is watching. Paul Haley again. Highest viewed Super Bowl. We talked about it. Tony Santucci's watching. Carol Pizzo, a friend of mine's watching. Hello, Carol. Say hi to your hubby, Gio, who loves my loose leaf green tea weather report. Okay. What's on my mind? Well, I got some disputes with Nick a little bit because he's looking at it from now 25 years old. I'm looking at it for 67 and a half plus. So I got that experience and everything, and he's learning much better and more than I'll ever have. So I give him that credit because look what he's exposed to. Oh, my thumbs are weak. I just used the finger. He got strong thumbs. Look
I have
at
2.
him. Look, he got 2. So no disrespect, but the game, everybody missed the point. All the media was talking about an offensive slugfest. I had told people Kansas City's defense, they always put a point spread up. They've been under in every game. So if a team is under a point spread in the fourth quarter, you got to put your money on it. And then you have San Francisco's coach, legendary seasoned coach. He did one of the biggest chokes in Super Bowl history, and I had that going for me because I go, how can he choke down this great team that he has? I love San Francisco in the NFC. I'm a huge fan, been that way for years, like how they do business with John Lynch and all these guys. They've done great. But he's a choker in the Super Bowl. And you'll go, Al, what are you talking about? You got the best running back in the league, and I'm not racist, but he's white. And McCaffrey is super, and I only say that because of Smoking Jim's references. You're running the ball adequately in the first half. 6 plays in the third quarter, they gained maybe 7-8 yards. Guess what kind of play, Mike, they did? 6 passes.
Yeah.
How did you go away from running? I told a couple friends of mine, and you know what they said? They said KC was stopping their run game. I said they gained 50 yards or something in the first half, which they're happy with that, to get a 50 in the second half. What if you ran 6 plays running? I think they would have had 3 or 4 first downs and had more than 6 plays. That's all they had, and that changed. I like using this with Smoking Jim. That changed the complexion of the game where San Francisco looked like the better team, but nobody here even mentioned on San Francisco's touchdown pass, their center was 10 yards down the field, in the middle of the field. My dad was a referee, said if you notice me, there's a problem. How did they did not notice that play when they do it ad nauseum during the season? A guy's 6 yards, well, they'll give you 5. And they're calling the flag all the time. This guy was 10. I'm watching it because I watch centers. And we're like, I'm with Drew.
Wow.
Look,
Wow.
where's the flag? And, you know, it's just unbelievable. But I give San Francisco all the credit in the world when you have a choker coach. This happens because it's out of your hands. They played well. And then who would think? Like, I believe games are fixed.
Yeah.
But on that punt, there's no way you can get blocked and get hit into the punt because you don't know how far it's going. That leg, the guy had a booming leg. Unlike, who was that guy we had? He's gone. Never mind.
Presley Harvin.
We don't remember that. So how do you run in and get hit by the ball when you're being blocked? Then we got our guy, Ray. Everybody's calling him responsible for it. Nick said he did the right thing. Except for one thing, like I told Drew.
No, he didn't do the right thing.
No, he was attempting to do the right thing, but I told Drew, you know what we're taught in football? Fall on the ball.
No, that is. I agree with you on that. That's the right
but
thing.
the thought was the right to get the ball.
Not to run for a touchdown.
No, you're not letting me say it. He saw that it hit his player. That's what he reacted. I can't help but these athletes get millions of dollars and they have a 2-cent brain.
Yeah.
And that's what happened there. I'm like, all he had to do is fall on it. End of the game. Now who wins? My bets would have been off. But first of all, they wouldn't have had a touchdown. And we got to go from there. So think about that. And then when they say we have a new game, when the ref said we have a new game, and they said because of the new rules, and this is the first time we're doing it, and this has been 2 years since they changed it, I'm like, whoa, giddy up, let's see what happens. Then you see what happens. Mahomes driving down the field, taking their time, and Romo's explaining, hey, it's like a new game. They'll get the ball in the second quarter. And then before 1 second to go, who's he hit? Hardman there. He didn't even know he got a touchdown. They said he blacked out.
That's true.
How about
he did
that?
say
He
that.
blacked
Yeah,
out,
he did
caught
say
the
that.
ball. Mahomes had it told.
Yeah, Mahomes wondered why I wasn't celebrating.
Yeah, he said, we won the game. I was like, what? You caught the ball. So I don't know what happens when they become millionaires and catch a ball
Well,
like that.
they change the rule every year on overtime, so I can forgive them.
No doubt about it. But hey, that's my take on it. Sorry to be a little long-winded, but I enjoyed the game, and I like being right. I'm not always right. I just act that way. I'm confident. But this time I was right, and they confirmed it.
Yeah.
Nick gave me the greatest compliment in the world. He copied my saying twice. I'm pumped up today. I'll duck down, and I'll say, we're going to go to Smoking Jim, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. 10 seconds. You lost it all.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, man, and I thought Chip would be here today, but in honor Well, I don't know. The jacket don't look too bad. Hall of Fame jacket don't look too bad. But
How much did that one cost?
In honor of Black History Month, I'm just do a Black History thing. Charlie Burley, a boxer that's in the
Great
Boxing Hall of
boxer. They
Fame
avoided him.
that never got a chance to fight for the title. A lot of people don't know Al Levine, the talking machine. Since I'm a journalist, you don't have to look this up. Nick, you can just go with it on your show. Is that in 1936, he would have fought in the Olympics, but his amateur trainer and his professional trainer was Jewish. So he honored the anti-Nazi boycott. So he didn't go to the Olympics. He was undefeated through his first 12 fights as a pro, and then he fought Pittsburgh's own Fritzy Zivik, right?
Yeah.
And Fritzy Zivik was known to be dirty, thumb you in the eye, bite you, kick you.
Pittsburgh guy.
Pittsburgh guy. He fights Fritzy Zivik. Charlie Burley never has a hard time making weight. All of a sudden, he gets on the scale, he's 1 pound over. So his trainer did something and that we used to do back in the day.
What do you mean we?
He had to lose weight. So his trainer would chew the gum, all the sugar out of the gum, and then give it to him. And he was able to get that 1 pound off. Remember I told you we used to shear mouthpieces back in the day, Al Levine, the talking machine. So Fritzy Zivik beat him.
I thought you said jock straps.
Fritzy Zivik beat him, right? Al Levine, the talking machine, even though the referee scored it 7-2 to Charlie Burley. The next two times Charlie Burley fought Fritzy Zivik, Charlie Burley beat him. Charlie Burley is supposed to fight for the championship against Henry Armstrong. Henry Armstrong instead fought Fritzy Zivik. Fritzy Zivik wins the championship over Henry Armstrong, and his manager bought the contract, the rights to Charlie Burley, so Zivik wouldn't have to fight him. Al Levine, the talking machine. But he did go on to win the World Colored Welterweight Championship and the World Colored Middleweight Championship. Then he never fought
I never
over.
heard of that.
Hey, Mike, he never fought over 152 pounds, but he fought heavyweight Ezzard Charles. It was a close decision for Ezzard Charles. He went and fought heavyweight Archie Moore. He knocked Archie Moore down 3 times in 3 different rounds to win a unanimous decision, but could never get that fight with Sugar Ray Robinson. And Charlie Burley went into the Boxing Hall of Fame maybe after he died, or he might be still living. But the Hill District's own Charlie Burley. And I was just on the Hill last Saturday, Al Levine, the talking machine. I seen 14 deer. I said, holy smokes, I wonder how they living in Elwood City if there's 14 deer on the hill. Al Levine, the talking machine, Elwood City must got them. But that's what's on my mind. Charlie Burley, what a great fighter.
Hey,
Al
on
Levine, the
a
talking
serious note, I was a little boy born in the Hill District, 105 Pride Street. We'd go back all the time from Greentree. And my dad introduced me to this guy. His nose is busted up, his ears are busted
Fritzy
up.
Zivik.
And he goes, I'm like 6 years old. He goes, this is Fritzy Zivik.
About 300
He
fights.
had a hand like a sledgehammer.
Wow.
And I remember this as a kid, so I go home and I go, Dad, how do they name a kid Fritzy?
Is that what you said?
Yeah, because I always was thinking about stuff, and I go, that's a crazy name. Then I found out later, what a great boxer he was. My dad had told me that, so yeah.
Mikey, I'm trying to lose weight. Chew the sugar out of that, brother.
There is such a thing as sugar-free gum, right?
Huh?
Yeah,
There is
I
such
have it
a
in my
thing as
car.
sugar-free gum.
I have it in
Not
my
back
car.
then.
Just saying.
Not back then. Not, what's it, 1940, something like that?
30s.
Well, he was going to fight in the 36 Olympics, so this would have been 38.
40s.
1938.
That's still 30s. It's before 40.
Yeah.
Gateway educated, you can tell. 1 + 1 is 8.
Sugar-free gum. I like that, bro.
All right, Tom Alessik's watching. Hello, Tom. Remember meeting you. Tony Santucci. Greenlaw Feliciano got hurt in the game. That's the real reason for the second half comeback, except about the lack of running in the third period. That's a little bit of it. You didn't gain much without running.
Where can I go see
Jesse
the World
Saxon,
Colored Middleweight belt?
Our friend Jesse Saxon's watching us. Hey, Jesse, you still drinking green tea like I taught you with white tea? Peter Kessie's watching. Ron Tepper, a friend of ours, and I think you know him too. And
That's my man.
yeah, and Robin knows him. Can't stop the Mahomes factor.
Yeah.
I told these guys, Ron, don't
I sure
ever
listen.
bet against Mahomes.
Sure, listen.
Paul Haley corrected me. Only 3 seconds were left on the TD. Paul, I looked when he caught the ball, and it was 1 second in the end zone. So pull the tape up. I go 1 second. Kevin Glenn grew up with me in Greentree, then left. He's watching. Sharon Sissy Boyd's watching. Thanks, all of you. And we're going to go to Nick VIP time.
So you know what? I was just looking on the desk and look at Smoking Jim's ginger ale today.
Hold that up for Pete Kasich. Our man Pete's watching. He went from 2 liters to 16.9 ounces.
Smoking must have lost his bet for the Super Bowl.
No, he lost all the money he had on him.
Can't afford the large bottle anymore.
Well, he had $250 on him, and he lost $500.
Yeah, well. Anyway, so let's talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, and or what the Super Bowl kind of means for the rest of the NFL. Because I got a theory on quarterbacks and how trends may start to happen with how drafts work. So Mahomes was not, I believe it was a first round. He was passed on by several teams beforehand.
Yeah.
So that was a big story on him. Brock Purdy. Famously the final pick of the draft, and here he is now in a Super Bowl. So you look at the 2 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, or a lot of the quarterbacks that have made it, in recent history, and I mean, how many of them have been like your top draft guys?
Good point.
Not many top 5, top 10 quarterbacks. You're usually getting a lot of guys who may have been first rounders, may have been second rounders, or in some cases, Tom Brady was a later pick. Brock Purdy was legit the last pick. So
262.
Now, Big Mike talks about it. Rody Rage over there talking about, okay, well, you need your guy. Is your guy, though, going to be your top 5, your top 10 in the draft? How valuable really are these top picks? And the reason why I ask that is because think about, for me, if I'm thinking about the teams that are going in and looking to draft these guys, we also just let go of a guy who was taken with 2nd overall in the draft who amounted to nothing. Hopefully something. We'll get there later. But
and he got ruined by Nagy, so imagine that.
So why think about all the teams that can consider talent, like all of the teams that study the guys in college. Perhaps in high school, right? They're getting studied. A bunch of teams. The guy
next to you.
Well, Smoking studies the guys, but think about what I'm saying here. It's there's so much tape, there's so much film, there's so much emphasis and focus on these certain quarterbacks who are highly anticipated that every team in the NFL can easily figure out, okay, what's this guy doing? What are these guys' tendencies? And perhaps make a plan to put a stop to it. I was going to come in here today, too, if the 49ers had won and talk about how Patrick Mahomes was getting neutralized for most of the game because when you keep him in the middle, not let him branch to the sidelines, it's harder for him to maneuver because he can't just run for a first down. He has to throw it. And if he has to throw it, you're better prepared in the secondary to defend against those passes rather than trying to prevent that run once he crosses the line of scrimmage. Now, they won, so good for him, right? They couldn't figure him out toward the end. But, like, a lot of these guys you figure out and get figured out to where maybe that's why they're not so successful. Like, you can better anticipate what a player is going to do if there's more film on that player. I don't think Brock Purdy's film was widely available up to the draft and then after he was drafted. I fully anticipate, considering that the 49ers drafted Trey Lance as well, that they were just going to have him as a depth piece that could have potentially been cut.
Good point.
And then he only got in because the 2 starting quarterbacks on the team got bounced. And for a while, there was no other film on him other than college, and watching him in the NFL, he had to be restudied for what he did. So my main point here is that if you're looking for your guy, is your guy going to be a first-round pick, a top first-round pick? There are a lot of first-round picks that can go, but like the number one, Baker Mayfield, has had some promise, but he's been mostly underwhelming for a long time. And he played for the Browns too. That could have had something to do with it. But
did.
you know what I mean? Like, he's been mostly overwhelming through his career and has only kind of now started to go on an upward trend. Mitch Trubisky is a great example of that. So, like, what's Caleb Williamson going to be? How valuable could he be to a team, or are all the NFL teams going to figure out his weaknesses from college? So it's just a fair question to ask. Are we going to start to see more trends in the draft change? Are you going to see quarterbacks get taken as high? You still probably will, but just think about that those high draft picks don't necessarily guarantee success, and it seems more often than not recently that your guys that are kind of under the radar. Patrick Mahomes was even, I guess you could classify, I know he's first rounder, but like, how many teams passed on him? Like 15-ish? So, like, he wasn't highly considered for his class. Brock Purdy was, again, the lowest considered. So you get what I mean. It's just interesting how this falls, and, even if the Steelers decide to take a quarterback, is that going to be the guy? If any team is going to decide on a quarterback, are they getting their guy by default just for drafting that player? The Steelers are still 20 this year, but in that top 10 is more what I mean. So
We're not there. We won't.
That's
be
the
there.
opinion, though. Just think about it.
It's good opinion.
It's not always. It's an interesting case study. It's not always right in front of you, and it actually could play to a disadvantage if teams can better prepare for those highly anticipated quarterbacks to make it big.
Couple comments. You missed our debate, me and Smoke and Jim, about number one pick quarterbacks, how many are successful. I'm one of the few guys in sports that doesn't pay attention to the draft because I don't get paid to do that. And all of you, including Ron Tepper, who's great at it, that they study it. And I don't know the criteria that each team has, and I know it's varied because sometimes the eye test, seeing some quarterbacks in college, you go, wow, this kid could make it. Then you see this other kid with the great offensive running backs and line he has. You go, what's he going to do in the pros? I ask those questions, so I always wonder, what are these scouts that are saying, pick this guy? And I want to get off it a little bit, but Bosa was emphasized by Romo and others how he was going outside. He would step in to go in. Then he went out because he was following their game plan, which that's where you're talking about the film. So now I'll go to Brock Purdy. At Iowa, he was a pretty darn quarterback.
Yes,
they had film on the success he had. Now, everybody talks this. I hear it, everybody in the media. He's a system quarterback. He's 23 years old. How did he have a year where he lost a couple games and looked bad? And he brought the team, first time ever in Shanahan's career, he was 0-30. He brought him back for a win because he ran and threw the ball. And in Pittsburgh, we love Kenny Pickett, but he couldn't get any yak yards. If you watch Brock Purdy on every throw, he's leading a runner.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
And if you see McCaffrey, all he has to do is throw it up in the air. McCaffrey's already 3 yards away, a separation. When do our receivers separate? So I'm just trying to compare us and what do we do in the future. I don't even want to speculate. I'll let the experts. But Purdy had a good year, even if he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. And nobody's given him the respect. 23 years old, over 4,000 yards, was in the MVP race. So he's not a system quarterback. He exceeded it, and with his talent. And look at his foot speed. He was outrunning some guys to gain yards.
Some black guys, too.
Well, disclaimer, Smoking Jim's not a racist. He's a black man that we think. We didn't do DNA, but we're going to look into that. But getting back to it, sometimes you got to just ask, what do these teams look at for a quarterback?
Yeah.
And then here's the thing I'll tell you. Somebody just got hired for the Chargers because of the quarterback. And they mishandled Herbert for all these years that he's been in. he's got talent like the other guys that you've mentioned, the top 4 or 5. Watch what, I'm not a Harbaugh guy in their coaching tree, but they coach up quarterbacks. He was a quarterback. I can't wait to see what Herbert does this year. I'm looking for that. We need some hope. So I'm trying to keep hope alive. Chicago, we want somebody maybe from you. Take Caleb Williams, give us Justin Fields for a sweetheart deal. Eat some of the salary. But no, we need something in here so we can argue about that and what we look. Great segment there, Nick, with that. We're going to Ragin' Rhodey time. Now, we've been waiting. He teased it up. Let's go. Look at that rage.
And I must be on. All right, hey, real quick.
No, take your time.
I'm going to use a 4-letter word when it comes to getting quarterbacks. Ready? Luck.
Yeah.
It's luck, pure and simple. San Francisco spent 3 first-round draft picks to get Trey Lance. Gone. 7th-round guy, Brock Purdy. No one's going to tell me, oh, you know what, we're going to sit tight till the 7th round. We know Brock is going to be there. We know. Nobody else does. Same thing with Tom Brady, anybody else you want to see, even with Mahomes. It's like, well, you know what, we're just going to sit. If anybody knew what Mahomes was going to be now, they'd have sold their anything. They'd have sold, they'd have given up part of the franchise to get that guy. Yeah. So the college does not prepare NFL quarterbacks. It's a completely different game. Completely different game. You can scout the guys. Some of them turn out, some of them don't. The Colts went back and forth about who to take, Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
They almost took Leaf. Think about that. Yeah. It's at the end of the day, it's luck. But that's not even what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about was how much I love Mario Lemieux, but I will never forgive him for one thing, for not waiting 2 more years to sell the Penguins. Because by him selling the Penguins to a new group who nobody in this town knew anything about, if they would have come in and let all these old guys walk, they were terrified. These guys just came here to be carpetbaggers, and we're not going to go see that team anymore. We're not going to pay tickets.
You're right.
And so what happened? So they signed Malkin to a deal, and I love Gino, but my God, are we watching absolute tragedy for him right before our eyes with that guy.
He got old. He actually got old.
He used to look disinterested, but we knew he wasn't because he's going to wait. Now watch, he's going to do. Now he looks disinterested and he can't score, can't skate anymore. Letang, you can say what you want. There's no way they should have signed him or what they re-signed him for. And then to add on top of it, they bring in Carlson because let's add even more old guys to the mix, right? So instead of what they should have done was keep Crosby. Don't re-sign all those guys. Don't bring them in. Bring in young guys so now you can have 4 solid lines around Crosby. By the way, that's how you win cups now, right? You don't win with star power.
Right.
You win with solid lines, maybe one superstar, maybe in a good some complementary players.
Right.
But then the muckers and grinders on those lines, they're barren. They're bottom line. So it's a shame. I understand why they did it because it was business. I may have done the same thing. Walking in and saying, geez, I don't want to walk in there and be the guy to let Letang walk, Malkin walk, and these guys are just here. We're not going to go see it. So they were scared. They wanted to sell tickets. The problem is now we are entering a very dark era for Penguins hockey, and because they're so in the red right now with all these guys. And unless
have no cut contracts.
Exactly, and I mean they're obviously not going to trade Letang or Malkin. No one would want them.
No, they don't want them.
If they can somehow get out of Carlson's contract, which amazes me, the guy wins, the best defensive player in the league last year. And I'm like watching him this year. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Their power play is just it's.
Here's the answer. He was on a team and he scored 100 points.
Yeah.
And they just cared about him scoring points. He didn't really play defense.
And nor does he now.
Right.
Nor is he, plus he's not scoring points.
But you can see they don't know what to do on the power play.
It was let's throw as much as we can at this and take one last chance to try to be a competitor. I don't know what I do know what they were thinking, but
Yeah.
I remember talking about this last year. You saw this a mile away. There's no way this was going to work.
Everybody but Smoking Jim.
Yeah, maybe.
No, he doesn't know what we're even talking about.
Smoking Jim didn't see the NHL coming.
Yeah.
They have a season every year.
No, he
And-
missed that. but
And
no,
one last thing
Yeah,
about
go
our
ahead.
battle in Buccos.
Yeah.
Springtime. Two things that are always constant: taxes and their owner getting up and doing an interview saying how things have to change. But then he goes and signs a bunch of guys and turns the Pirates into a halfway house for guys getting out of the league.
Hey, they were working during the Super Bowl. That Yasmani Grandal got announced.
Oh, that
literally-
catcher? Yeah, the
literally an
catcher,
hour
the
and a
catcher
half
who hit
before
220.
kickoff.
Who hit 220 last year?
it's
I mean, he's a
above the
guy.
Mendoza
He's a
line.
guy on the way out of the league
But he
that
used
nobody
to-
else wants.
He used to play for the Dodgers and the White Sox, and those teams spend money.
Okay, but they don't want him now.
You didn't see
So
that. You
let's get him. Let's same with Chapman. They're bringing this guy. Nobody else wants these guys. They have to overpay them, and you know that's their methodology. And
I was being a
doesn't
little
work.
sarcastic.
I know
No,
you were. Sorry.
He just blew by it. Great segment. We're going to On Location in 10 seconds. You guys are all blackened up. except you.
There you go.
We're back. First, a shout out to former cameraman Michael. This was one of our great cameramans and director, Ryan Thomas in Brazil.
Wow, he's still out there.
Yeah, he's down in Brazil.
He relocate.
Yeah, Patrick Anthony's watching. Matt Lascola's watching. Our friend Susan Lauterbach's watching. Hi, Susan. Hope you're doing well. Robert Sharp's watching. Chuck Chief McElroy, poor Smoke, lost his shirt and undies. Charlene Thomas is watching. Paul Haley sounding in with the Pens will not make the playoffs second year in a row. Me and Mike Rohde
No way.
agree on that from this side of the table. All right, On Location, mark your calendars, Priory Hotel, March 15th, the Donnybrook. Shout out to Robert Tierney of the Ireland Institute of Pittsburgh and Rich Donnelly for hiring us again. They're holding a check for us, Nick and Smoking Jim, so we're good to go. Same thing. Robert said, we're having 3 seats for you. Smoking Jim wasn't there last year. I said, he'll be here this time. He's not sick or a mysterious operation or whatever else. So we'll have him in there. And then I got to announce this. Where's Michael on the camera? We'll see what he can do here.
Uh-oh, pressure's on.
He can do it. This is Coliseum Combat Zone. That's our first event, Saturday, June 29th. All-American Fieldhouse. Is he up there with it, guys? You got that flyer on there? Well,
There it is.
Boom!
Boom!
Wow. That's our event. That's what I'm doing. I own the Coliseum Combat Zone, and this is the largest event I'm doing. We're having it All-American Fieldhouse. It's going to be like a UFC fight with a concert atmosphere. We got all kind of special lighting, LEDs. We got great sound systems. We got a great DJ. There'll be a lot of entertainment there. I'm going to interview every fighter. We're going to have up to 14 fights. Wow. Each fighter will get a 1 to 2 minute interview with the talking machine. We have 2 large screens, and Michael, they're 16 feet by 9 feet. So I'm going to have to end this quick, but June 29th, 2024, we'll have a ticket link. Go to Coliseum Combat Zone for updates. I'm excited about it, and please stay Joey strong.